good coffee. Clink, clink, clink all the way around, man. Obi-Wan Kenobi offering his fine and humble heart and his sweet love and energy, his tail wagging love. Okay, man. Oh, he's such a divine instrument of love, man. I tell you what, it's good to have little doggy-like companionship in your old age like me, man. You know, I'm getting rusty at this old rocket ship stuff, you know. And Oki, he's my co-pilot, keeps me on track, keeps me from falling too far overboard. You know what I mean? Sometimes he's a little pushy about it too, you know. You think he's just a gentle-natured little guy, and indeed he is, but he knows how to insist on something too, man. He can be pretty persuasive that way as well, man. The little dog-like eyes just melt your heart, or you know, just make you want to do what he wants you to, 'cause, you know, everybody's happy then, okay? Well, this is kind of how we have to approach our mother. The mother love, the divine feminine inside everyone, whatever you want to call it. I call it Sweet Mary Jane, but this is how you got to address it. See, dog is God in an odd sort of way. You know, it's a backwards world, so dog got the God energy, of course, okay? I mean, just the way. You know, so here's Sweet Mary J, you know, and she is always leading the way. I mean, we have degraded her to the extent that I don't know how much further down you could squish her, man, you know. Now, let's just speak in, you know, in a larger sense about how we've treated the feminine side of things here, but who is we but us? You see, we have to get past such dumbass divisions, you know, but in the meantime, and this is how we do it, is, you know, hook up with Sweet Mary J. Give her what she wants today. She can be real insistent. Now, what do I mean by all that? Am I just being funny? Am I telling you to go smoke some pot and get high and fly with the angels? Well, that might be a good start, okay? But there's this energy inside of you. It's a softening energy. And it's coming from your heart, and it surrounds that heart and centers itself kind of in the solar plexus area, but all the way through your chest, man. Gee whiz. I mean, you know, it's a huge heart, really, man. It's not just that little blood pumper that we got there that supposedly weakens us in a romantic sort of way in our younger days. Oh, babies, you got a lot to learn. Yeah, we got a lot to grow into, of course. But, you know, we can do it rapidly because it's programmed into our genetic presence as a physical person, and in a larger sense, in the spiritual tense, I'd say, we're like, you know, living in L.A., man, Beverly Hills. You understand what I mean? Nobody wants to live in L.A., you know, nobody does. But everybody does because that's the place to be, and there's all that smog and all that brainwashing machinery and the cowboys and Indians between the street gangs and the cops and all the political chicane. Oh my, and the earth shakes and burns you up when the Santa Ana winds gets to blow. I mean, then the government's, well, I better not say that. Let's not say the government, but some sinister force in the background been setting force on fire with the foreground, man. You know, some kind of weaponry off the nose of a 747 shoots out these blue beams that starts fires that, you know, burn into thousands of degrees and just do all kinds of strange things, you know. I mean, I've lived in the mountains, and I was up there in southern Oregon, which is pretty near northern California. In fact, I was right on the border there for a long time. But in that country there, man, we get a lot of fires. I mean, the summers dry out there. It's a real wet winter, and so you got lots of lush growth, but in the summer it all kind of dries out. We just get a few thunderstorms here and there, and of course, they may or may not be good for the environment, but Mother Earth's been renewing herself like that up there for years, you know. So fires are a common occurrence, man, in the summer months, you know. Sometimes, you know, like in I think it was 87, we were boating on the river one day, having a little fun as the young punks that we are, and son of a gun, this thunderstorm blew over while we was out on the river. But it's kind of a dry storm. There wasn't no rain, just lightning everywhere, you know what I mean? And we all just kind of shuddered. Those of us that lived there, I mean, we all just kind of shuddered in our soul because we knew what was happening, man. It sure as heck it burned like a son of a gun. That thing started 1,000 fires or something like that. It's an impossibility without bringing in the military or something to even think about taking control and putting these fires in containment. So they went after the bigger ones, you know, whatever. But we lived on smoke and ashes, you know, in our life from but it was the end of July, about the end of July till about mid-October when the rains finally came back, you know, and put all those fires out. And, you know, at the time I'm living out in the middle of all of that, but somehow the fires all missed me, man. It was beautiful, you know. I've had a few of them come close to me, even here in the Rocky Mountains, you know, because I like living in the mountains. That's where I like to be, you know, and because the energy's so sweet up here, you know. I don't necessarily have to be 9,000 feet. That's just where I wound up, man, you know. Of odd circumstance, but I could be just as content at 5,000 feet. As long as I'm in the mountains, you know. Over there in Oregon, my little place was like 2,400 feet above sea level is all, man. I felt like a swamp rat living down there, you know what I mean? But, oh, my goodness, those fires, whoo-wee, I tell you, babies, they'll prove something out of you, you know. I mean, they're challenging, even if all you just do is live 10 miles from them, you know. It's challenging. But for a lot of folks, you know, it's kind of a suppressed economy down there then. So a lot of folks got work, summer employment, you know, dangerous work sometimes, but sometimes cushy stuff. And, of course, the bucks were big because it's government. And, hey, they just like throwing money out, man. You know, get the economy going, you know, stuff like that. Sometimes I wonder about the forest fires and stuff. But anyway, see, so I've been around a lot of fires. I've seen friends lose homes. I've never lost a home to a forest fire, but I got burned out of one place that I can remember. And I've had a few neighbors get burned out. And, of course, being out on the highways of life a lot like I have, being the seasoned traveler that I have seen a lot out there, you know. I mean, things that should have taken down the whole East Coast, stuff like that, you know. I mean, I've been through some pretty horrendous shit. But at the same time, you know, it seems to limit itself, as horrible as it can be. I mean, there never is the great, great big tragedy, you know. I mean, you got to think about that. You know, this old Turtle Island, despite all the bullshit going on here, you know, and it's the chicanery up the gazoo, it's a very blessed place. Even that eastern place that these people have tried to turn into a chemical wasteland with cities hanging out. I don't know how they figure all that, but it's just insanity to me. But, you know, they just soon do that to the west, turn it into a more of a wasteland than it already is. Just rape the shit out of it and run away, you know. Well, where are you going to go with all that stuff, you know? You get all the wealth out of it, where are you going to go? I mean, that's just empty-headed thinking, you know. That's these kind of people that stand on the edge of a vast desert and look out there and see, you know, profitability. Let's see how we can muck up this mother trucker and make a lot of money doing so. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just, oh, wow, crazy, crazy stuff, babies. But so anyway, we know about burns and fires and, you know, all kinds of things. We're seasoned veterans in the 3D for sure. You know, you don't get much tougher experience than trucking. I think it's up there about number 1 or number 2 of the most deadly occupations there are, the most dangerous too. But at the same time, you know, if a person's got good angels and can stay cool out there, maybe you can even set an example for the traveling public, or at least try to keep a good energy field about you. Don't go tearing down the highway 90, 100 miles an hour in heavy traffic. Bullshit, man. You know, be reasonable about all your activity out there and polite to one another. I'll never forget the time. I've probably talked of it before, but I'll never forget the time when for the first time as I was hauling back into New York City there, you got to cover those bridges to get over to the backside of Manhattan, you know. So I'm coming up to those bridges, and of course they close lanes down. I mean, they go from like 12 lanes to 6 lanes or 5 lanes or sometimes 2. I think that Staten Island bridge was only 2 lanes. So there's always, jamming up there at the toll gates going up the bridge because the lane's all narrowed down. Well, son of a gun, usually you did have to fight your way over there. Just start moving in that direction, scare people bad enough to get out of the way. And that's nasty. I hate driving like that. As a punk, I might have done a little of that, but, I just hated doing it. So, but I'll never forget the first time. Now, I'm approaching that bridge, and I turn on my old left turn signal indicating that I want to move over a lane or two so we can all be polite to one another and keep the flow going, Son of a gun. People backed off the accelerator and gave me a little room to move over. I couldn't believe it. It's New York, man, one of the most hardcore places in the world, man, where, people step over dead bodies on the sidewalk and don't even look down. They probably should, just in case it's not a dead body, might grab them or something, you never know. But anyway, that's the reputation it has. But I think since certain little disasters happened there, things have been changing. Because it was in the 2000s, early 2000s, or mid-2000s, I think, when that happened, when I started trucking into New York again. I hadn't been there for years and years and years and years. And it was awesome to go back and, I never wanted to stay there, but go back and, see how the other half lives, See that the swampland ain't quite swallowed him up yet. By the way, really, there is a degenerative energy in the New York City area from some of the same stuff we're talking about, some of this secret technology that went on in the background. And I'm not going to say who, what, when, where, you figure it out, but there's a degenerative energy there that's taken the whole city down, and certain people know that already, and other people scared to death. But anyway, it's advisable if you live there in that area, as much as I hate to say it, I've got good friends, brothers, and sisters there, lots of them. Well, not, anyway, I got a lot of good brothers and sisters there. And so do you. You understand my meaning, baby? There's really good people in New York City. It draws a lot of the creative hearts there. So, maybe we can somehow circumvent, the total destruction of the place just for the sake of those folks. Or maybe they can just hold the energy field for everybody else, and those that get through will be those that tune into it too, Something like that. Maybe, but just the same, you got to listen to your heart now and never move from a point of fear or defensiveness, always move from a point of being cool and just following the flow of your heart. It's Divine Mother we're talking about, Mother Mary J, as I sweetly call her, eh? But it's really what we're all made of, okay? Yeah, all right. So New York City, it's got that degeneratory thing going on, and it's possible the whole city could just evaporate. I don't know. It's going to be a little rough there, I think. So I think if my heart was telling me to pick up and move upstate or go somewhere else with it, I think that's what I might do, I would definitely be paying attention to the signs of the time. Like I said, there's other possibilities, just like I've seen when I was viewing a future timeline thing one time, I saw a big tidal wave coming into L.A. It was just one of those, inevitable feelings, and you just stood there and watched it come, Amazingly, right there ahead of that big wave was these little kind of gold-colored, triangular-shaped ships, and they were darting along just ahead of that wave and grabbing people off the ground, teleporting them up and getting them the hell out of there. But it last-second kind of stuff, right down to your last breath before that wave hits. Bing, all of a sudden you're gone in a different direction, and other people beside you are, getting crunched by the wave, man. Weird shit, huh? But, as I looked at that, just like I look at what's going on in New York right now, city, I know it's only a possibility. It doesn't have to be like that, you see. That's one potential place we could go with things if we just wanted to, flush the toilet and start over again. But I think we're in a different kind of mood. You see, it's time to rethink our reality. It's time to catch on, John, to who and what and why and all that shit that we really are. You know, quit dinking around with this 3D world and thinking it has power over us. You go with the flow here, you do what you got to do in this 3D. That's what I do. That's why I was off yesterday. I had to go see a doctor, get these old bones checked out, see if we can't get a... It's like that Tin Man with needing the oil can kind of thing, you know. So I be practical. I do what I got to do in this 3D, you know, and I reckon you do too. But at the same time, I just feel like every step of my life is inspired. Even when I sit there and sputter like an old hen with, you know, don't know which way to point my little pecker anymore, you know. It's crazy stuff, man, but it's odd too. But this is what gets you through, is, you know, the ability to go with that flow, to live it multidimensionally as I would describe it. You know, we start here with this loving feeling, this rooted down feeling, this great appreciation for our life and our Mother Earth's life around us. I mean, everything, you know, we just develop that. It just comes, because that's our truthful state. We're like the innocent child at the center of it all. And only in that innocence can we be that. I mean, otherwise we get lost in our own little aspects, you know. But if we come back, and it's like recognizing the innocence. Take it to the next level. See where it's really created, you see. Allow yourself, like I do, to live a little beyond the 3D, to be open to the potential of a whole new reality, to really remember why we were born here in the first place in this lifetime. There's a crew of us here, and we're the, what do you call it, we're not the wrecking crew, baby, we're the ones that help them get through. You know, the emergency mechanics, man. We're the guys that know how to put a bubblegum patch on a tractor tire and keep going, man. You know what I mean? Relatively, I'm speaking, of course. But we're all open to that. You know, we all carry that dream. That's the one thing we hold in common. And it's not, you know, it's really not even a dream. It's a memory of a reality that we seem to once live in and seem to be separated from, you know. This is where all the anxiousness and the greed and the emptiness and the aloneness and all of that stuff comes from in this life, is that idea that we're separated from paradise, separated from everything else, and we're just one isolated little person, and we have to reach outside of ourselves to get comfort and warmth from another, etc. You know what I mean? Of course, there's a gazillion variations of that. It doesn't really matter. It's just a flow. But that's where we've been living, totally asleep inside of ourselves, zombie-like in our behavior. I mean, really, you know, it's good that life started coming back there in the 50s and the 60s, you know, and the heart started to show itself again, because it was gone there. You know, the shock of those two great big huge wars, and I'm sure in your heart many of you remember that too. It was just incredible. So, but the backlash of it, the backwash of it is, here's paradise. Here's these hippie kids saying, look, we don't have to be a bunch of squarehead militaristic fools. We can have a little fun with life. We can do the joyous thing. We can fulfill this dream we got in our heart. I know mine was just like yours. You know, basically they all say, this is a world where people get along, they love one another, they respect one another, they help each other out all the time, but in a different way. It's lived at a different level. It's energy field, and we're that energy in motion, you see. It's the next level. Well, you know, I hate to call it that, because there are no real levels. It's just expanding our understanding back into what we felt separate from for so long, to allow that dream that we've carried there in the center of our heart. Why do you think you put so many guardians over that heart here in this lifetime? Preserve that dream, baby. That's you. That's me. That's what we are. That's the energy field of love, where we truthfully operate creatively And it is a flow of energy. It's divine music. It's harmony. It's the grand symphony of life, the rock opera of love, man. You know, it's just, well, it is what it is. And that's where we got to live. You can't go back to the old ways of thinking and think you're going to fix a God-blessed thing. You might be able to, you know, oil can some joints and get things moving again. But you can't expect to make too much change there. You know, the change happens in the creative field of love that we're made of. You see, so it's just a matter of level and degree of consciousness. How much will you allow yourself to be rocked into the new reality? See, now, we put down the ground back there in the rock and roll days, my generation, but it's all generations. We're just building on it, see? And when, you know, our little regeneration came from, you know, another regeneration. It's been happening for a long, long time. But when we live these short lives and we get lied to about our memories and stuff, well, it's a little difficult to understand. Again, that's that 3D world. You see, all you see there is the flow towards evil, not towards anything else. You know, just darkness and pain. And, oh, my goodness, it's all going down the drain. Well, it is. We're through with it, you know. It's an aspect we've lived in. And we've lived there to adjust ourselves into feelings, to put down roots into the Mother Earth and the Mother Earth's heart, so we have a real firm foundation from which to work in that field of creation, that field of love that we're made of, as the innocent blossoming children that we are. See, that's what we were designed for. And this has been kind of our training ground. This is just kind of where we start, not where we finish either. You know, like, there is no finish, man. It's constant, expansive growth. And, you know, we've just been in a cycle where we are separated from our awareness of that. You know, I mean, that's what it seemed to be. But in the reality, baby, we never separated from anything. And this has just been like a television show that we lived in. One that we created ourselves and stepped right into. But you can only put so much of yourself into a game like that. A video game, let's say, would be a more relative term. But you know, it really is, you know, living movie, living motion picture, you know. And we script it as we go along from the heart. See, this is the level we look for. This is the degree we want to be, you know, because then it'll be a peaceful reality. Our dream will fulfill itself. Our knowing, I mean, I don't know if you remember when you were a tiny, tiny child. A lot of people can't remember that far back. But you know, I remember the shock when I started to realize, when it really hit me, that this was kind of a difficult reality, that these people weren't always honest with themselves or anybody else, that I was surrounded by a world that, on the one hand, was a real caring existence, and on the other hand, of course, the opposite side of that, the uncaring existence, the world of business, which, you know, anyway, it was just all role-playing and, you know, incredible compromise. And that dream I had in my heart, that I thought that was the world I was born into. And it shocked me that this wasn't so. This is when I began to feel separate, you know. I can remember these feelings, these moments when that happened, you know. And I can't say exactly, but I'm sure when I was just standing there as a little kid, 2, 3 years old, looking up at some adults talking back and forth, and because you're just a little kid, they don't even know you're there, let alone that you're aware of what's going on. You know, they think of you as just a brat, you know, and you know, you don't even understand the language yet, hardly, right? But so I remember that. It was an observation, but it was several of them like that. But then this one key moment, probably in a church house somewhere, you know, because that was a big thing in that life back then. But hearing people plot business in this church house, you know, and how somebody's inheritance that they were going to grab, you know, and contain and control and stuff like that. And oh my goodness, it you know, it shocked me that people could think this way towards one another, right down to the bone, that people could be that cruel or that deceptive, something like that. A little moment like that, it's like, wow, man, But that's also when the fierce determination to find this place, to live this dream, started to arise. And babies, I became dedicated like a warrior to, search for the heart of gold, of course. Not realizing it was already in myself. At times I felt quite evil and quite dark. And, I've been lucky enough to escape the criminal reality, but seems like you can sure pick out some tough rows to hoe, babies, but so divinely blessed all along the way. And through having such distress, I don't know, I just bring forward this resiliency, and I don't take nothing lying down. Sometimes I want to just be a baby and just curl up and go, oh shit, But most of the time, babies, I want to curl up and go, oh yeah, man, let's go do something here. Let's get this rock a rolling, man. Let's get this song a singing, Let's get people, myself, everyone aware of the song of the heart, which is the symphony of love, the rock opera of truth, man. It's going on right here, right now, inside this little sound booth and all over this world, baby, because my little hound dog loves you, and so do I, and so does sweet Mary J, and all these divine angelic presences that we represent here, each and every one of us living down here in this tiny little television world, Don't ever tell me to leave it to Beaver, okay? For those that don't know, that's an old television show from the 50s. One of the dumbest shows on the face of the earth, it was so flat, it was like, flat me up, flat me up, flat me up. How bland can I be? That's how they got you to eat Campbell's soup, by making you feel bland. Then a can of soup wasn't so bad. It was tasty compared to what your life is, Oh, the psychology and the treachery, man. If we only knew half of it, But at the same time, that only works on people that sleep. The innocent don't even know what's going on there. They can't catch on to that kind of stuff. They don't know how to play the hustle, the scam. They don't know how to have it played on them either. They just know the flow of love. And they're real sure of that love. They're rocking in the heart all the doggone time. So pay attention to what goes on in your reality around you. Because it's suggesting to you a higher level of things. Especially this rock and roll made in the 3D, man. Shit. But it's only one element, a damn good one, but it's only one element. And pay attention. See, these things like forest fires don't melt aluminum blocks in cars. It don't melt down steel and stuff, man. That's an incredible fire. That's something that's been manipulated somehow in the reality, in my humble opinion, and from what I've been able to pick up off of, the internet, man, and talking to people about it. I got a few friends down that way. One was there when there were fires were going on. Those scary stuff. Wild, fast-spreading fires. See, these things aren't right in the 3D. But how do we change this? You see, it seems like they can get away with anything, right? You got to take it to the next degree, the next level, don't you see? Sit there by the fireplace. Gather with your friends. Maybe, make a circle of hands. And just exist there quietly, living in the dream that you carry in your heart, because it's a mutual dream that you all share. And maybe from that little circle of friends, and, other little circles of friends will come together all across the face of this earth, join hand in hand, and just sitting there on the ground or on the carpet or whatever, communing with the dream of the heart. And babies, we bring it back together just like that. And it doesn't take very many of these groups either. One it'd probably do, but let's try 500 or 5 billion or whatever, okay? Whatever the number needs to be, let's let it be. But let's just think about it in that degree, in that direction, and see where it takes us, you see. You don't want to necessarily plan anything here in the 3D, because then the visible resistance can rise up, and even inside of you. So it's easier just to go with the flow. Then you don't have to anticipate anymore. You already know. It's going to go right. It's going to be what we need it to be. Join hand and heart in our reality. We ain't taking this shit lying down anymore. But we're not going to get up and kick you in the wallies either, much as you might deserve it. Everybody has a role to play, and the sick ones and the awful ones are here too, and they've got life in them, and we're here to bring that life back together inside of their diminished little heads, okay? So just look at them as, wicked little kids that can't help themselves, I mean, we can go deep on this, but I won't go that direction right now. Because, you just pay attention to what's being revealed, deal with it accordingly, but do not, get sucked into the old pitchfork and torch routine and get out the guillotine and think that taking somebody else's life or locking them in prison forever is going to do anybody any good. We just strip them right down to the heart, right down to the basic love everything is made of. And this transforms that ugly existence into something wonderful. Because that's what it's based on anyway. It takes real saints to live wicked lives, let me tell you. To be that dark and that horrible. I'm talking like Hitler types, that kind. And they seem to rise up everywhere, But they're just trying to teach us a quick lesson. Take it to the next level, the next degree. Don't take it unnaturally here in the 3D, you see. Know what the presence is within you. And when you feel that presence, encourage that presence. Let all three of your eyes be open, your heart completely open, as much as you can possibly be. And you will see the dream coming forward. When all the guardians are dissolved away, then the dream comes out to play and manifests itself quite automatically. That's our genetic programming. And that's why there's so many efforts to mess with our genes here in this reality by the darker forces. Those of you that know about this stuff, tell your friends so they'll catch on, will you? But anyway, that's why they're trying to alter the DNA, because that would change our existence, our creation. They could rob us of our rightful inheritance. But see, since we've taken it to such a degree already that we understand way beyond that kind of thinking. In fact, that kind of thinking don't even register anymore, We can't think in that way. We can't be that way. And because that's come into play, well, guess what? One energy balances out the other. And suddenly there is equity here in the 3D, and it starts to unmisbehave itself. Because again, such activities as taking away shit from others just doesn't exist. We're creators. We're creating all the time. What do we need to be desperate for? When you live in the fields of creation, you're in the flow of life, man. You're back to the beginning again. Right here on Spring Creek. The flow of life, the flow of love from that beginning, you betcha. On the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, dear. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you opening my heart and helping me share your own love, your own perspective with a lot of others too, okay? Oh, wow, look at that. We all got the same basic perspective, don't we? Wow. Can I borrow your glasses, man?